Hi everyone, welcome to Vidyanagar Public School's online classes. Today, ma'am has come up with a very new chapter. Before that, are you all fine? You all are doing well, right? Be safe, okay? So, today we are going to start a very new chapter, that is The Cherry Tree by Ruskin Bond. The Cherry Tree by Ruskin Bond. Do you know who is Ruskin Bond? He is an Indian born guy, but he lived almost his life in England. Just read. He is an Indian writer of British origin, and he has spent most of his life in Dehradun and loves writing about the forests, hill stations and people of this region. Many of his stories are autobiographical. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He was honored with the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Tehran. This is about him. This is all about him. So without much delay or ado, let's jump into the story. Are you all ready? Yes. Before beginning, let me ask you something. Have you ever planted any trees at your home? At least any flowering plants in your garden? Yes, you might have planted something in your garden. Ma'am is so sure that you might have planted at least something in your lifetime. Till this time, you might have planted at least a flowering plant, jasmine, rose. You might have planted, right? Yes. Then how it feels like when the planted tree starts to grow? You feel very happy, isn't it? Yes, you feel very happy. And when you plant something like a tree or something, when it starts to grow and when it reaches near to you, equal height with you, then what does it feel like? You feel very happy, isn't it? Yes, you feel very happy. So today we are going to see a small little boy named Ragesh. He is also planting something. Let's see what he is going to plant and how it feels like, right? Let's see his story. Ma'am will be reading the chapter, so you must listen very carefully and listen to the words which I am pronouncing, okay? So you will get the correct pronunciation. Ragesh lives with his grandfather in a little cottage in the Himalayan foothills. His parents live in a small village 50 miles away, but there are no schools there. So, Ragesh comes to live in Missouri with his grandfather. This is the situation. Okay, let's jump into the story. Yes. One day, when Ragesh was 7, how many years old? 7. He walked home from the Missouri bazaar eating cherries. They were a little sweet, a little sour, small, bright red cherries, which had come all the way from the Kashmir Valley. From where? Kashmir Valley. By the time he reached home, only 3 cherries were left. So what is that? Ragesh, he is walking from Missouri bazaar, eating cherries, and with the little cherries are very sweet at the same time. Some cherries are very sour. Okay, and it is small, bright red berries that he is eating. And by the time he reached home, how many cherries left? Only 3. Only 3 cherries were left. Have a cherry, Dada, he said, as soon as he saw his grandfather in the garden. Grandfather took 1 cherry and Ragesh promptly ate the other 2. He kept the last seed in his mouth for a long time, rolling it around until the tang had gone. Then he placed the seed on the palm of his hand. What is it? He gave 1 cherry to his grandpa and then he calls him Dada. Then we see that the rest too he is eating and he is rolling it until the taste has gone. we do normally when we get a chewing gum or a bubble gum, we chew it, right? We chew until the taste goes, right? The same way, until the taste of this cherry goes, he is rolling it in his mouth. Are cherry seeds lucky? He asked. Of course, said grandfather. But nothing is lucky if you put it away. If you want luck, you must put it to some use. What his grandfather is saying? Yes, everything is lucky unless you put into use. What can I do with a seed? He asked. Then his grandfather replied, plant it. So Rakesh found a small space, began to dig up a flower bed. I'll plant here. I don't think that is a good idea, said grandfather. I have sown mustards in that flower bed. Plant it in that shady corner where it won't be disturbed. So grandpa is advising him to where to plant this particular seed. Rakesh went to the corner of the garden. He pressed the seed into the soil with his thumb and it went right in. Without any force, without digging, he just pushed it there into the mud and it digged right away inside the mud into the soil. Then he had his lunch and ran off to play cricket with his friends. So he just became very immersed in playing cricket and talking to friends and all. He forgot all about the cherry seed. Then by the time he forgot about the cherry seed. When it was winter in the hills, a cold wind blew down the mountains and went to in the deodar trees. In the evenings, grandfather and Rakesh sat outside near a charcoal fire, and grandfather told stories. Stories about people who turned into animals, beans that jumped and stones that wept. Okay, so when it was winter, at this time winter, the hills became very cold with wind blew. Concentrate on the pronunciation, blue. It's not blue, it's blue. The wind blew down from the mountains. So wind blew down from the mountains and into the deodar trees. Deodar trees, I will show you. This is the deodar trees. Okay. And let's see deodar trees that grow in the western Himalayas. They are tall and have needle-like leaves. These are called deodar trees. Okay. And grandfather and Rakesh sat outside near the charcoal fire. Okay. Charcoal, what is a charcoal? Charcoal is a hard black substance that can be used to build a fire. So they knew it was spring when the wild ducks flew north again to Siberia. Early in the morning, when he got up to chop wood and light a fire, Rakesh saw the V-shaped formation flying northward. So in the early morning, when he woke up, he was about to cut the wood and make the fire in the charcoal fire. Why? It is very cold there. It is very cold and tough to live there. So he's about to make the fire lit. So he suddenly noticed that birds are flying in V shape. So he understood that these ducks were flying towards the north and again to Siberia, he is saying. Have you ever seen birds flying in V shape? Yes, you might have seen. Yes. In the evenings, we can see this kind of flying normally in the evening time. One morning in the garden, Rakesh bent to pick up what he thought was a small twig. So he bent down. He saw a twig. What is twig? Yes, it started to grow. He found to his surprise that it was well rooted. He ran to fetch grandfather, calling, Dada, come and look, the cherry tree has come up. He became so happy and he was yelling and he was calling out his grandpa. What cherry tree? Asked grandfather. The seed we planted last year, look. The seed that we have planted last year, it started to grow. They both bent down and peered at the tiny tree. Started to stare at this tiny tree. Yes, it's a cherry tree, said the grandfather. You should water it now and then. So grandfather was saying you should water it now and then. Okay, then Rakesh went indoors and came back with a watering can with him. And the grandfather said, don't drown it, said grandfather laughing. Rakesh gave it a sprinkling then and circled it with pebbles. What are the pebbles for? Grandfather asked. For privacy, Rakesh replied. Rakesh said, it's for privacy. That year, the monsoon rains came very early. Ferns sprang from the trunks of trees and the trees dripped as the mist came curling up the valley. The cherry tree grew quickly in this season. So, this is a monsoon rain has come early. Monsoon started. So, the trees, ferns means what? The flowerless plants with long stem and feather-like leaves. They started to sprang up, means started to grow and all, and quickly the cherry tree also started to grow. It was about 2 feet high when a goat entered the garden and ate all the leaves. Only the main stem and 2 thin branches remained. What happened? The goat came inside and he started to eat the leaves of the plants inside the tree and also the cherry tree. Never mind, said grandfather, seeing that Rakesh was so upset. It will grow again. Cherry trees are tough. Grandfather consoled him, saying that it will grow again. Towards the end of the rainy season, new leaves appeared on the tree. Then a woman cutting grass came down the hillside. Her scythe, swishing through the heavy monsoon foliage. Foliage what? The leaves, the greenery, the vegetation is called foliage. So towards the end of the rainy season, new leaves appear on the tree. Then a woman cutting grass came down the hillside, her scythe swishing through the heavy monsoon foliage. So she cut it. The cherry tree also cut down. She did not try to avoid the tree. One sweep and the cherry tree was cut in two. When grandfather saw what had happened, he went after the woman and scolded her, but the damage could not be repaired anyway. Maybe it will die now, said Rakesh. Very poor boy. But the cherry tree had no intention of dying. By the time summer came around again, it had sent out several new shoots with the tender leaves. Rakesh had grown taller too. He was 8 now, a sturdy boy with curly black hair and deep black eyes. By the time summer came and he sent out several new shoots. New shoots has started to come out and the green leaves also started to come, and Rakesh had grown taller too. Rakesh also became a taller boy than earlier. He was now how many years old? 8 years old. He is a sturdy boy with curly black hair and deep black eyes. Today we stop here and with the suspense. Let's see what is happening to this cherry tree in the next class. Okay, till then, today we had discussed the chapter, the cherry tree, and we discussed the story, how the boy has planted this seed of cherry and how it started to grow, and how Rakesh felt when the goat ate his plant, and when the woman also cut the tree into two, how the cherry tree was not ready to die and he again sprout out. So this is the story that we have reached till. So let's discuss what is happening in the story in the next class. Are you all ready? Isn't it? Yes? Ma'am likes to give you some homework. So you just write down one experience of yours. planting a tree and taking care of the plant, just write a paragraph about a plant that you have planted. Okay. And let's see then what are the new words that we have learned today. Are you all ready? Yes, we have learned new words like tang. What is tang? A strong, sharp taste or smell is called tang. Then, which is the next word? Deodar trees. That are the trees that grow in the western Himalayas. They are tall and have needle-like leaves. Okay. And what is a charcoal? Charcoal is a hard black substance that can be used to build a fire. Okay. And what does the word privacy means? Privacy. A state of being alone and undisturbed. And what are ferns? Ferns are flowerless plants with a long stem and feather-like leaves. Okay. And which is the next word that we have learned? Scythe. Scythe. What is the pronunciation? Scythe. A tool with a sharp curved blade and a long handle used especially to cut long grass is called scythe. Okay, these are the new words that we have learned today. I hope you will learn these words very well and use it in your daily conversation. Then only it becomes your words. Okay, use these words very carefully. So we'll continue with our story in the next class. Till then, take care. Okay, be safe.